Woody Page, Sarah Spain, Frank Isola, Jackie McMullen, people who have a track record of interfering. Answer me this then. Interference or no interference? There is one question you have to ask yourself to get to the right answer here, and we'll do that in 30 seconds. Also, Pelicans destroying the Rockets. Not so quiet debut. And the Boban delay, which is necessary in this sport. Boban is taking the leap this year, people, even if he's not leaving his feet. All right? Let's go.
Yes.
Reach for the stars and keep your feet on the ground, Boban.
That man is a giant.
It's Around the Horn, the show of competitive banter. Here's Tony Reali.
You've watched it 100 times. Here's 101. Maybe you've changed your mind every time you've seen it. Is it in the field of play? Is it in the seats? Is Betts going to catch that in an empty stadium? I think that's the question maybe that should matter most here, rulebook aside. Is Betts' glove closed? Is Betts' glove closed by the fan? Joe West had a nice walk spoiled to make it out here for the review, and he made the ruling that the ball was still in the field of play, so that's interference, no home run. Jackie McMullen, we're going to start with you. Did the umpires get this call right?
I have no idea. And I'm being completely honest. So, if Mookie Betts was that ball in the field of play, one of the fans to the far right appears to be leaning onto that barrier and going into the field of play. But is he the reason for the interference, or is it the one next to him, who may or may not have closed his glove? He's in the stands. What we've learned our whole lives from baseball is if he's in the stands, that's fair game, and that's the way it goes in baseball, and good luck to you trying to catch it. I do think this. I think that whichever way you call this, it was really going to stink for people. And I feel for the Houston Astros today because this was a huge, huge pivotal call.
Of course it was. Let me ask you this question, point blank, Jackie. Does Mookie Betts make that catch in an empty stadium?
Yes, I believe he does. I've seen him enough to know that he can do.
Frank Isola?
Absolutely, he makes that catch. And, Tony, you know all about 1996 with Jeffrey Mayer leaning over, catching the Derek Jeter home run. Sarah knows all about Steve Bartman, what happened in Chicago. Those were not overturned. I actually think in this case the umpire got it right. I think it was interference. I think the fan's hand hit the glove of Mookie Betts. That's why it shouldn't be a home run. I think he would have caught that ball. I know people in Houston don't like it. I think it was the proper call.
Sarah Spain.
Yeah, you asked a lot of questions. Let me get to all of them. Would he have caught that in an empty ballpark? I think yes. Was his glove closed because of the fan? Yes. Did they get the call right? I don't know, and here's why. The answer to this question is if he's still in the field of play, it's interference if a fan got in his way. If he's leaned into where the fan's area is, then it's not interference. It's okay for them to have their hands outstretched and touch the ball. The answer to the question that we all need is in this one piece of video where we can see definitively whether or not he's in we're going to get it. It's going to... No! No, we'll never know.
Job. We'll never know. Impressive job with a video rollout. I didn't know panelists were doing video rollouts now on this show. Woody Page, how about you?
I know you're looking for a definitive answer, and you didn't get it from these three people. Yeah. I will tell you this. If the game were played in Marlins Stadium, he would have been okay because nobody would have been out there. You're right. But in regard to this play, baseball didn't get it right. The rule is so vague that you can't really figure it out. So here's the situation. Basketball gives us the answer. Jump ball. Do it over again. Have a mulligan. Say you're still up at the bat. What? You're not out. What? You're not a home run. Let's do a do-over. That's the solution there because I've watched it, as you talked about. I've watched it 50 times, and each time I look at it, I go, oh, here's the answer. And each time I go, no, you're not right. So we don't know. We don't know whether they got it right.
Anyone want to oppose Woody Page there or reinforce what he said? Jackie, you want to try that on for size?
Woody, I have no idea what you're talking about. You're going to have the guy pitch again and hit it over? Are you kidding me? That's the most ridiculous thing you've ever said on this show ever.
No.
In like 2 decades. Seriously.
Frank Isola?
And that's why, Woody, come on, you know this. There's something called ground rules, and every different stadium has them. It's what makes baseball unique. And I want to say this in defense of the fans, of Steve Bartman, the fans yesterday in Houston or last night in Houston. That is a natural reaction to do that when a ball is coming at you. So let's not get on the fans for making a play there. It's unfortunate, but let's face it, too. It's what makes baseball great and unique.
What do you want to do over on your answer there? Because that's a possibility if you want do-overs. Let's move on. This game had so much stuff in it. Everything baseball would want, aside from the rulebook mumbo-jumbo and the 4.5 hours and the fact that it ended at 1:14 a.m. But the moments here and the heroes here, was there one that stood out most to you, Jackie?
You know, I said it yesterday. I'll say it again. Jackie Bradley Jr., the biggest hit of the night again. This man has 9 RBIs. 9 RBIs in this series. 2 RBIs. The only one that ever had more ever was Yogi Berra in the 1956 World Series with 2 outs. That's incredible. We're talking about Jackie Bradley Jr. and Yogi Berra in the same sentence. I didn't see that coming. Sorry.
Frank Isola?
And Jackie's right about Bradley. He right now is the MVP of the series. But for me, if I'm Houston and the bases are loaded, I want Alex Bregman up, even more so than Jose Altuve. And for that catch by Benintendi, that is a big-time play in a pressure situation. To me, that's the moment of the game.
Sarah Spain?
Yeah, my apologies to both Jackies, but clearly the answer is the catch at the end, because if you've got Kimbrel on the mound, that home run went away as soon as he hit it, because you're going to give up a run or two at the end and nothing's safe. You need a bigger lead than that. So saving the game at the end with that catch is bigger than that home run.
Craig Kimbrel's ninth-inning adventures. Can you see the Red Sox maybe going away from their closer? Jackie, you could start us off there. I'll get to you in a second, Woody, I know.
I don't see how you can do that. You've got to stick with what you got. Now, you can give him a quicker hook. You can find ways around him, but there's no way Alex Cora. He stayed with Rick Porcello too long in this game. If anything, his biggest problem might be staying with his pitchers.
All right, Woody, bring it home for us. Jackie's got Boston in the name behind her. We got to ask her the question directly about Boston, but please, go.
Sure, but you leave me out of about half the questions. In regard to Kimbrel, you know what you've got.
Reason?
I mean, all year long, if you look at his numbers during the regular season, he gave up a walk every other appearance. He gives up walk in the postseason. He's given up 4 walks. And the thing about it, he gets himself into trouble. He gets himself out. He needed a lot of help last night. And the play of the game, obviously, was the last one. How many times do you have a walk-off catch in a postseason game? That was a prime example of it last night. That's going to decide the game, because if it gets past him, Houston's going to win.
Sarah Spain.
Yeah, Woody gets himself into trouble. We'll see if he can get himself out of it, i.e. the negative points on this show. Listen, if he were to go in and blow a game, none of us would be surprised, right, based on what we've already seen. But you also have to look at the fact that he gets himself into these problems and he gets out of them. He has the experience not to doubt himself and not to get into a bad situation and freeze up and make it worse. So I think you almost have to keep him in for that experience.
Yeah, okay. It sounded like what Woody said.
Wow.
Woody's back in the positive figures.
Oh,
Alex
so
Cora
nice.
is pulling lottery tickets out of his Wazoo All Series. So as we look forward to tonight's game, and the Sox can close it out and go to the World Series, Frank, David Price gets the start. All right? He was warming up for 2 innings last night. Said in his previous starts, maybe he's pushing it too hard. What do we expect out of Price tonight?
You know what you expect out of him? Give the team 5 good innings. Your team is up 3-1. So, yes, there's pressure, but not like pressure you'd be facing down 3-1 on the road. David Price has an opportunity now to change, get ready for the word, the narrative about him, especially up in Boston, with a quality start tonight.
Jackie Mack.
Are you kidding, Frank? 5 innings from David Price. Let's start the confetti now. Get the parade. I'll pay for the band. Everybody in Boston would be over the moon. I think a lot of fans were hoping last night he did come in relief, because then they probably couldn't have gone back to him today. It's just a precarious situation. No one knows what to expect from him. Nobody.
And Woody Page, last word after the horn.
I think it was the right thing to happen, because he changed his routine, Jackie McMullen Jr. He actually had warmed up. He threw 26 pitches. I think he's going to be ready to go tonight. Yep. I mean, the guy's got to do something different, because he still hasn't won a postseason game.
Oh, wow. Woody, I don't know how you got back into positive figures. How's he doing this? It's like coming back from 3-1 down. We'll move on. Dodgers 5, Brewers 2. I'm going to say something right now, and I'm just going to leave it alone. Clayton Kershaw, 8th postseason start, allowing 1 run or fewer and 3 hits or fewer. No one else in MLB history has more than 5 such starts. That's Katie Sharp, of course. So there's that. And there's the Dodgers, 1 game away from the World Series again. And then there's the Brewers, looking for pitching everywhere and in every way. The Wade Miley start and was pulled after 1 batter. Surprise, he's actually starting tomorrow. Hello, Greg Hansels was asked if this was subterfuge, and he said, I don't know what that word means, which sounds like a Woody Page blackboard. Woody, did you like what Hansel did with Miley?
Oh, I thought it was fantastic. It was like watching Bobby Fischer in a world championship, and he's manipulating an opening move. To me, it was great because then you got Roberts thinking about, do I switch all of my backups so early in the game? What am I going to do to respond to this? And then you still have Wiley available to start on Friday. What a fantastic move by the manager. It just didn't work out.
Yeah, it sounded so great until you got to the end where it didn't actually result in a win. But you want to start with what Cancel did to start this game or how the Dodgers finished this game, Sarah?
Yeah, I want to start with what he started with Miley. And listen, it doesn't have to result in a win for it to be a successful or creative move. The other side has Kershaw, and you don't have a Kershaw. So if you have to do some manipulating beyond what you've already been doing with your bullpen, which has already been unique and groundbreaking for the sport, take it one step further. Have a little bit of a pulling a rabbit out of the head, as our boy Jason Witten would say. This, to me, feels like what they needed to do. And your stat about Kershaw is good, but here's another one. This is the 10th postseason start with 2 runs or fewer and 4 hits or fewer, which is tied for second all time in baseball history, which is even fewer people who have done something like that. He gets a lot of flack for what people say is choking, but he's great, and that's why you have to do something like what
Frank Isola?
You know, I had a bigger issue. Wade Miley in Game 2 was pitching well. The minute he got in a little bit of trouble, he was removed from the game. So last night was more about a gimmick. And I said this to you yesterday, Tony. The guy that you wanted on the mound was Clayton Kershaw. And Milwaukee had him in the 3rd inning. Yelich with runners on 2nd and 3rd, strikeout. Then they load the bases. Kershaw gets another strikeout. It comes down to this all the time. It's not about hitting. It's about pitching. And that's why the Dodgers have a huge edge.
And Jackie McMullen.
That's all true, Frank, but Kershaw's done pitching, I think, for the next 2 games. So now we'll see what happens in the series going forward. And, Woodruff, he did the job. So you can say what you want about Miley, but Woodruff did exactly what he was supposed to do. So it's not like that move backfired.
I just want to see if one move backfired. I remember Isola's answer. He said, as I said yesterday, which is awfully similar to the mating call of the mute button, self-promotion. You don't get points for that, Frank. You get a mute, and we call it a day. We're taking a break right here. We'll come back with the latest news in the NBA, which opened this week. I'm not sure if you guys knew that. Yeah. Buy or sell next.
When does LeBron play?
I can't believe you made it 12 minutes without talking about basketball, honestly.
My name is Lauren. I'm 33. I didn't want my identity to be the smoking mom. My first experience with Juul, I do remember being like, this is good. It's like a cigarette, but not. I don't miss smoking at all. Like, I can officially say it grosses me out.
Juul is the tobacco alternative that delivers nicotine satisfaction without cigarette ash or lingering odor. Make the switch at JUUL.com/sports.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Buy or sell.
Pelicans 131, Rockets 112, Anthony Davis 32, 16 and 8. Let's start buy or sell there. You people ready to write books about Melo being a minus 20 off the bench, about the Rockets taking a step back after 1 game of the season. How about the Pelicans? Maybe for once of your second of your life, talk about Pelicans, both the team or the animal. Anthony Davis, not just him, the whole front line. Woody, does this outcome tell you more about the Rockets or the Pelicans?
You're stealing my stuff. It's about the Pelicans.
There you go, Woody. There you go.
I told you the other day that the Warriors going to have problems because of teams like that with Davis, who had an incredible run, better than Beyonce ever could. That's why Gentry said he wouldn't trade him for her.
I see what you did there, Sarah Spain.
Well, first of all, they don't store food in that pouch in their bills, which is fascinating to me because I always thought they did. But beyond that, I already knew what I needed to see from the Pelicans last night. It was the same stuff. Anthony Davis is amazing. This is a team on the rise. The Rockets side of things is what interests me because you can see how this will play out over the course of a season. When you lose Trevor Ariza and Luka Mbah-a-Moute and your defensive guru and you add a guy who's not known for his defense, then you're going to have great offense and bad defense, and that's not going to help all season long.
Frank Isola.
And Sarah's referring to Jeff Bezdelic, who left right before the season and was their defensive coach. A couple of things about the Pelicans. Number one, they signed Julius Randle, came off the bench last night at 25 points. And how about Alfred Payton? He's basically replacing Rajon Rondo. He had a triple-double. See what happens? He got his hair cut. He could see the floor better. Triple-double.
Okay,
good job, Alfred.
Nobody needs to hear about that from Frank. How about you, Jackie?
Yeah, it's all about the Pelicans. And he's right about Peyton. Everybody thought there's too big of a drop-off there between Rondo and Peyton. At least for one game, that wasn't true. We know that when you pair Davis and Meritek together, the numbers are great. We saw that after Boogie Cousins went down. And may I please retract my 30 seconds from yesterday? Are you kidding me? What made me think Carmelo Anthony was going to take
I wish you absolutely. I'm glad you got there before I could, Jackie, but you're still losing the points.
I can't believe anybody says it was mentally challenging. Stop it, Carmelo.
He's right about that. He's right about that.
We'll move on. The Raptors, the energy in the building last night, the big Kawhi Leonard intro. And then here's his first possession after the tip. Listen to how much he gets the crowd, and the second he gives it up to Danny Green. Okay. All right, now, okay. Oh, wait, Kawhi's got the ball back. Hooray. 24-12 for Leonard, 27-8 for Lowry. Sarah, with all the focus on the Celtics and Sixers, is it possible the Raptors are being overlooked?
Yeah, absolutely. The only focus we've given them is making fun of Kawhi's laugh, right? That's all we've heard about this team thus far. And when you look at the way the Sixers started, you start to wonder if they're going to be taking any meaningful steps forward when they don't have any depth behind their two stars, and Markelle Fultz is still such a question mark. So to me, the Raptors are a much better team, and they showed it last year. Now they've just added Kawhi. They'll be even better.
Ice.
They added the most accomplished player and the best player now in the Eastern Conference. And symbolically, they played the Cleveland Cavaliers, the team they can never beat in the playoffs. LeBron is gone. Kawhi Leonard, right this minute, Toronto is the second best team in the Eastern Conference.
But you've got Boston ahead of them.
Just by a little.
Jackie Mack, how about you?
I wish I had my tape all teed up for you. You could have looked at me Tuesday on Outside the Lines before the Celtics and Sixers played when I said Toronto was the second best team in the Eastern Conference besides the Boston Celtics. And you know what? You mentioned Kawhi, that's fine, but the biggest beneficiary from Kawhi is Kyle Lowry. Look at his numbers at what he did last night. Kawhi's going to get all sorts of attention, and Lowry's going to have a big, big year because of it.
Woody Page.
Yeah, that word is wrong. They've been underlooked. And I think the most important aspect of last night's game was that Leonard is back and healthy. And if he's healthy, they are switching that Toronto team from being a backcourt team to an emphasis on a person in the forecourt.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so thumbs up or thumbs down on Woody with the underlooked? Oh, I'm kind of buying it. You can be overwhelmed, you can be underwhelmed, you can be overlooked, you can be underlooked. I'm buying it. We'll move on. Buy or sell three. Rookie debuts. DeAndre Ayton, 18-10-6. So Luka Doncic is 10-8-4. Mohamed Bamba's 13-7 off the bench and the Magic win. Trae Young, 14-6-5 and a -20 versus the Knicks in a game where Alonzo Trier did this thing in it. Frank, which rookie debut caught your eye?
Come on, it's always about the number one overall pick. 8 of 11, 18 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. One other thing, Vince Carter, 41-year-old Vince Carter, started last night for the Atlanta Hawks and scored 12 points. So you got the young and the old.
Jackie Mack.
Yeah, those Hawks, they're not tanking, are they, Frank? I'm with you, though, on Ayton. I'll tell you right now, if I had said before the game, one of the two picks is going to have 6 assists, everybody would have picked Doncic. Nobody would have picked the number one pick. But they're both going to be really, really good.
Woody Page?
Ayton not only outplayed the other rookies, he outplayed the other DeAndre. He had better numbers. He said during the offseason before his rookie year, I'm going to be Rookie of the Year and an All-Star. Guess what? He's off to a great start toward that objective.
It's no fun to just be the fourth person to say DeAndre Ayton. So I'm just going to say Mo Bamba because it's a more fun name to say, and then that way we're not all agreeing.
That's all you got?
Back in.
Somehow, some way. This may be one of the greatest comebacks of Woody Page's career. And it's going to be good for his points per game. Isola McMullen say goodbye. Woody, Sarah, showdown next. Woody Page, somehow, and Sarah Spade in showdown. Good luck. We had a Boban delay in the NBA last night for bending the rim without jumping. Woody, are you ready to jump on the Boban revolution?
Sure, I'm calling it Bobanlicious. I think that we talk about players that... incredible dunks. That's the best of all, where you don't need to even leave your feet. I love it.
Not only is it not particularly aesthetically pleasing, but I'm curious as to how long this can actually maintain in a league that's getting increasingly smaller and faster. But I'm here to see it.
See, that's my question, and it's a good question you asked, Sarah. Can a Boban type, can a team work with a Boban in a league where it's 190 paces per second? But I'm willing to see them try, and I love it. We'll move on. Points, Woody. We'll move on. Knicks season opener. Let's talk about that. They beat the Hawks by 19, which is an oh man for Knicks fans. But a fan hit a half-court shot for $10,000 during the first timeout, and at that moment, the Knicks were 0-9 in the game, so the fan had made more field goals than the Knicks. Sarah, oh man or oh men?
This is an oh man. I wish this was a college game where fans weren't allowed to sit until the team hits a shot, and then they would have waited for the fan and been like, all right, good enough.
Sarah, I don't like the way you say oh man. What I know is it inspired the Knicks because in the second quarter they had 49 points, the most in a quarter since 1967. Yeah.
Oh man, oh man.
Oh man.
Oh Woody, how did you get to FaceTime today?
The NBA and the NBA Developmental League have come up with a great idea. They're going to pay high school players who don't want to go on to college $125,000 for 1 year. They're called select contracts. I like this. A player doesn't have to go overseas. He doesn't have to sit out. He can actually work toward being in the NBA. This makes more sense than what the NCAA is trying to do. I follow it, and I love exactly how this is going to come down.
Thanks for that, Woody. And I noticed behind you, your chalkboard says Team Nora. That is for Nora Leonard, and we want to show our love and support and be part of an army of supporters for a huge sports fan and a fighter. And here it is, like all the fighters out there, Nora, right now. Fight like hell, and when you get too tired to fight, let somebody else fight for you. Somebody like us, somebody like the army you have behind us. Hashtag Team Nora. We'll see you tomorrow around the horn. Good luck, bud.